So, Mayor, a lot of people are saying this is the most important election in modern history. Do you agree with that?
It's an important election. It's hard to compare in all of American history, but certainly I would say in my lifetime we haven't had such a threatening person serving as our president. So it's really important that we get a new president.
How do you think this election is different from from the previous election?
Well, I think that Donald Trump has succeeded in obliterating a lot of the norms of American politics. For example, calling his opponents to be arrested, really riling up racial tensions and religious tensions as part of his strategy, his campaign strategy. And so countering all of that is something relatively new, and it's not common, or even to have this type of election related violence where, elected officials are potentially, there's plots to kidnap them and things like that. This is all very unusual in American politics.
So, what issues do you consider when voting? Do you consider U.S. foreign policy regarding Pakistan like a big issue when you're voting?
I would say that foreign policy in general is important to me, and primarily a focus on human rights and diplomatic solutions to conflicts. I've been very anti-war in my stances for a very long time, and I think that, since the 90s, the Republican Party has been very hawkish in going to war in predominantly Muslim countries. And certainly since 2001, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that have not ended for so long were started by a Republican administration. And the Democratic administrations have always done what they could to try to minimize military intervention and try to have a diplomatic approach. For example, during the Obama administration, the Iran deal was, I thought, a huge success of diplomacy. Unfortunately, that was, not honored by the Trump administration.
How do you think Trump has contributed to the social fabric of America? And I know you're the mayor of New Jersey. Do you think there's been an increase in xenophobia since the last election?
Absolutely. Yeah. As statistics show directly that hate crimes have gone up, and it's even called the Trump effect, that after and around the 2016 elections, there's a rise in hate crimes. I mean, we had never had an anti-Semitic attack like the one that happened in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where a gunman killed people within a synagogue. We had a gunman go to a Walmart store and kill Hispanic people because he hated Hispanic people. We've had countless, mosques burned down and things like that. It's almost a daily occurrence. And, research shows that political rhetoric has a huge impact on society. And unfortunately, we've seen that in my town as well. In 2018, we had an anti-Muslim bias crime where someone left pork on a Muslim family's car. And though that was a symbolic thing, it is there to try to intimidate people who are from different backgrounds.
So currently, America is really divided, as you just mentioned, racially, religiously, politically, and I feel like in every way. So do you think if Biden is elected, is that going to change, or do you think it's going to continue going that way?
I think it'll change for sure. I mean, every person and every society has the ability to be cooperative or to be, hateful and think in terms of divisions. I think that having a leader that isn't going to stoke those divisions will definitely help. I mean, in a time of crisis, one would think that the leader of the country would try to bring everyone together, but Trump has consistently said that he doesn't care about cities that have democratic governments. He is constantly kind of saying that cities don't matter, and that's very disturbing, to set cities against rural and suburban communities. So I absolutely think that will change with a different type of rhetoric. Partially, it's also because of the media landscape that definitely since the early 2000s has been spreading misinformation and very vitriolic messaging throughout the country. And that's something that we have to contend with. But as I said, things were not like this under the Obama administration. We did not have people walking into synagogues killing people, walking into Walmarts killing people. So I think it will definitely change things for the better.
Going back to foreign policy, how do you think Biden and Trump's foreign policy differ, especially with regards to Pakistan or the Southeast?
I think it's completely different. I mean, Trump believes in strongman politics, right? Like he thinks that it's all just a business deal and about a handshake. And if he becomes friendly with the man on top in any given country, that's all he needs to do. And he doesn't really care. Like I know that Pakistanis were very excited when he met with Imran Khan, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's pro-Pakistan." And then a short while later, he met with Modi. So he doesn't care. He has no consistency. He has no moral values that are underpinning his policy. He doesn't have a concept of justice or human rights or anything like that. All that matters to him is his self-interest, not even the interest of the United States. So he is unreliable. And people like that often fall back on military solutions because that is a way to kind of shore up nationalism. And think about the fact that he killed General Soleimani, and he would be more than happy to start a war with Iran. He does not care. And what impact would that have on Pakistan? Similarly, he has given a green light to putting Muslims in concentration camps in China and in India. He really just does not care about the rights of Muslims or the rights of Muslim minorities in the neighboring countries to Pakistan. So I think that that's very disturbing. Also the stability of the region is of no interest to him. So that's one thing. Biden, on the other hand, I mean, as I said, he's always worked for diplomacy under the Obama administration. That was certainly their focus as well. He and Kamala Harris have both expressed concerns about India's human rights issues in Kashmir and with the CAA. So again, that it's like the difference between a principled person and a person who has not a care in the world. So I would say for Pakistanis, definitely, it makes much more sense to hope for a Biden victory than a Trump victory.
My final question to you is, what do you say to voters out there?
I would say, just vote. It's easy to give up and think, well, nothing's going to change. It's always bad. It's always terrible. But I would say as an elected official, not all elected officials are bad. And most of us are trying to do the right thing. So don't listen to the messaging that says, well, Trump is bad, so is every other politician. That's just not true. Many and most elected officials have spent their career trying to do the right thing. And I truly believe that about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Thank you so much for taking the time to interview with me, Mayor.
Sure.
Nice talking to
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.